losing control of the player of the character, but still smoothly going from cutscene to in-game and vice versa through one camera, going back into the game with the same camera. So ideally, you have just this one camera from the opening of the game to the ending of the game. And well, I've just been trying to do this over these last years.
まあ映画ではそのヒッチコックのロープとか、トゥモローワールドとかは先駆けてQアローンやってましたけど。
And in the film industry, you know, you have Hitchcock, people that have been trying to do the same thing with Hitchcock and Rope or Alfonso Cuarón that have been trying to do this. There are people that have.
まあある種だからこれも映画の手法の一つだと思います。
So I think, well, this is in a way this is another methodology for film.
でこれを作るのが非常にジョーダンも分かっていると思いますけど、非常に大変なんですよ。
And I'm pretty sure you're familiar to this, but actually trying to do this is extremely difficult.
Yes. これ絵コンテで書いてもうまくいかないですね。
And this is, you know, even if you have the blocking beforehand and you have all the
まあブロッキングというかそのキャラクターの配置とここでこの情報を出していく、このカメラでこれを見せてピン送りでっていうのはそのすごく計算して作らないといけないんで、非常に緻密にしないといけません。
You have to calculate in a lot of detail.
Here we go.
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Alright, PSVR, here we go. Pretty excited. I don't think I'm excited for Vacation Simulator, but we'll see. We'll finish off with Dreams at the end.
Friends, welcome back to the second day of PlayStation Live.
Here we go.
Free broadcast from downtown Los Angeles. It is good as always to be here with you, and it's good as always to be joined by Mr. Sid Shum.
Of course. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's time for video games.
It is time for video games. It's time for a
Sure
lot
thing.
of video games. And it's time for a lot of PlayStation VR games. Specifically, we have more than an hour of PlayStation VR content coming to you in just a minute here. We're going to cut to that very soon.
Including two, sorry to interrupt, but including
Please.
two of the most promising games coming to PlayStation VR, at least in my humble opinion.
Oh, my.
That would be Creed Rise to Glory
Ooh.
and Firewall 0 Hour. Very, very excited to sink my teeth into those games.
Absolutely. And also, you're going to be talking to Jennifer on the Evasion.
Evasion is very, very cool, yes.
We are going to be talking to Mizuguchi-san about Tetris.
That's
in just a couple
exceptionally
minutes.
cool.
And we also have more on Vacation Simulator and a bunch more, so stay tuned for that. And then later in the day, we are going to be taking an additional look at Dreams, Days Gone, Ghost of Tsushima, Soul Calibur 6, Dead or Alive 6, The Last of Us Part 2. I could go on.
The Last of Us Part 2 today.
Oh, yes.
All right,
Oh,
all right.
you. Sid Shuman, you don't even know.
It's a huge day. I'm excited to talk about Ghost of Tsushima as well.
Yes.
One
All right,
that's
Sid
definitely on my
Shuman.
radar after the show
I quite like
tonight.
you.
Of course, The Last of Us Part 2, very much on my radar. Days Gone continues.
Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream.
We did a few segments with him yesterday. We got another one today. Always happy to hear from those guys, see what they have in store.
I think they had a good time on the stage.
I think so.
I posted the schedule that they're looking at in the chat here
in Los Angeles to watch PlayStation
of
Live
what PSVR games are going to be previewed and showed. I'm
start with all that PlayStation VR content, starting with Evasion in just a minute. We'll see you soon. Don't go anywhere.
I have a PSVR. I love it. I want more games for it. I think I have 12 or 15 PSVR games. I was very disappointed in the one of my disappointments in the PlayStation conference. I mean, I get it. Your exclusives are the prime reason to buy the console. It's more or less what Nintendo should have done with more than just Smash, but are good games on it. But there's not enough attention. PlayStation in this hour are going to pique my interest. They talked highly about Firewall 0 Hour. Astrobot Mission looks like it's a side game from the Playroom VR game that's free on the PSN. Oh, thank you, sir. And then they talked highly about Creed Rise to Glory.
Okay, here we go. We're doing this thing live, aren't we? Welcome back to PlayStation Live from E3. We are here in the PlayStation booth, jam-packed day. We're going to talk about a little PlayStation VR game called Evasion. I'm joined by Jennifer from
Evasion. All right, here we go.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Sid.
So just a quick setup here. This is a really cool first-person shooter for PlayStation VR. I had a chance to play this a couple weeks ago. Has a terrific feel.
To lean into intensity. So when people pull off the headset, we want them to be like, wow, that was an awesome experience. So it's intense.
I'm getting a
battles.
Farpoint
There's
vibe.
A lot of firepower coming at you, and we give you a big shield on the front of your gun because you're gonna need it.
This is super cool. As soon as
that's Farpoint.
You know, the social screen that feeds off the PSVR, I said, wow, this looks good. Like, I need to jump in here. And there's a great co-op feature as well. You can play
this is pretty cool.
Multiplayer co-op up to 2 players. Tell me a little bit about how that works.
Yeah, so we have full body avatars in the game. So one of the awesome things about the game is when you jump in with people, you're going to see them there. You're going to see
Time to
their
take notes.
avatar. So you get a real sense of camaraderie in the game when you play co-op. And you're going to need each other. So we give you this ability called a tether, where you can tether to other players, give them damage boosts and buffs, and you can also tether to enemies and
FPS, locomotion.
Nice. So there are classes in this game, correct?
Yeah, there's
Farpoint.
classes. So we have 4 different
Like,
classes. They all
okay.
have a lot of special abilities and attacks, including the tether. They have a surge attack. We have a striker class DPS. We have a tank called the Warden. We have an engineer, a really cool class that does a bunch of chain lightning.
So the emphasis on the shield in front of the gun is going to come into play. I like that. I like the health bars.
Characters can kind of interact with each other, I think, makes it, you know, just a much deeper experience. You really kind of have to work together. Now, tell me a bit about, we're seeing some of this now. I played this exact sequence. There's almost a little bit of a bullet hell or a classic arcade shmup.
Flying around, you're trying to take him out. It's really intense, and there's a lot of...
I'm pretty down with this game so far.
You're definitely going to feel it in there. It's not going to be an easy ride for anyone.
Is it aim controller supported?
So what inspired this project?
Oh, so we've been working in VR for about 3 years now. One of the things that we really liked was we wanted to make the PS experience. So
I do like the health bars and the I've never been a fan of numbers coming on a screen. But I do like the health bar ticking down. That's pretty cool.
Really memorable for you when you go in and out.
What is the scope of the environments and the levels that we're dealing with here?
So they're pretty large maps, and you're having a lot of opportunity to explore those maps while also taking a lot of firepower and a lot of damage. One of the cool things about it is you can do destruction on the environment, so some things will sort of crumble around you, and in fact a lot of your cover may crumble. So the enemies, because they're pretty smart, they're going to take out your cover.
Tether weapon?
Forcing you to evade and dodge attacks. That's sort of...
And you use the tether weapon to get different attacks?
This game was, it's always very hard to convey this when it's a VR title and it's on just sort of a 2D video. But the feeling of, well, you know, Justin Massengale and I, we played this together, and we were in the same room. It was networked together, and you really got a feeling that, you know, Justin was right next to you as you played. You know, and just the movements and the way it tracks it with the PlayStation VR aim controller.
Yeah.
We should definitely point out this is a great use of that one. That's the peripheral that was is used in Firewall 0 Hour, which is coming up really soon. It was popularized in.
Oh, this is cool.
Farpoint.
Now I see the shmup type
so it adds a lot to this game.
comparative. Okay.
If you want to.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But the aim controller really brings sort of the ultimate sci-fi fantasy to life. You feel totally immersed in it, and even just thinking of it now, I'm like, oh, it's so rad.
Yep.
It's so rad.
I'm holding a gun. I'm in this environment, and there's really nothing like it. It's so immersive, and we really loved, creating the mechanics and really looking at that controller and building the kind of gun we wanted for that.
That gun is
and
freaking
it's
sweet.
Wonderful. It's super rad.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming and showing.
Thank you.
For someone who wasn't very
Cheers.
hype
Thanks
about
so much, guys.
Nintendo,
Thanks for checking it
Evasion. And
out.
when's it coming out?
It's coming out in the fall of 2018.
Great. So not too much longer.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
What was that, Andrew?
It's so hard in
I
Vancouver.
said for someone who wasn't hype about
it's
Nintendo at E3,
a lot of
you
fun.
sure are an
So keep up the
interesting
good work,
chat.
I'd say.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was Evasion. We got a lot more PlayStation VR.
It's interesting to chat about, that's for sure.
Firewall 0
What did they disappoint you with today?
Well, Nintendo. So their Treehouse, I do like watching their Treehouse Live that they're doing. It's a show. It's supposed to showcase all the games they couldn't really focus on during their, say, Direct or conference. This year, it's just Smash and Splatoon over and over again. That's all they're doing. They're essentially ignoring all the other games that were shown in the at the beginning.
It's interesting. Well, I mean, okay, so some makes sense. Like Octopath Traveler, they pretty much released a direct every month, more or less. So, and that game comes out in a month. So
Well, yeah, Octopath Traveler makes sense to me, but what about the other ones?
Otherwise, well, Pokemon is still, I'm assuming, not early in development, but it's still not too. There's still a bunch of time before release anyway.
I was still even shocked that, well, I guess there was a 15-minute direct or Treehouse Live yesterday over Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
Yeah.
But that was nothing. They didn't really go into anything we didn't already know.
Yeah. And I think maybe they're adopting we won't show anything until we have an actual thing. Maybe they got slammed for. Maybe they saw the news about getting slammed for only showing a picture last year, and like, maybe we won't do that anymore. You never know. Sometimes it's usually some dumb reason like that.
All right, so this I'm watching the PlayStation Live E3 Day 2 right now, and they're discussing PSVR games.
Cool.
I'm pretty pumped about it right now. They just did Evasion, which is like this arcade shoot 'em up, but it's a first-person shooter. It looked pretty cool. And now it's Firewall 0 Hour, which is a anticipated game, at least according to Sony. It is.
Oh, okay.
Especially when you're playing with the PlayStation VR aim controller, and we're seeing some footage here right now. Guys, how is the road to launch looking? Are you making tweaks? Are you making adjustments? I just want to keep a constant stream of communication with you to see how this title's shaping up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we're really close to the release date.
Right.
And we're really close to finishing the game. And
they're really close to release date and finishing the game, according to this dude.
right now.
So this is actually some new footage. I don't think I've seen this level before.
It's all good.
Oh, it's like a.
No, we haven't shown this.
This
is one of our.
It's like a SWAT team type game.
Shoot house.
Okay.
And it's in the.
Yeah, I definitely have not seen this level before. I saw the first two, and this looks like a new one here. So, this is what's so cool about this game. I love the pacing. It's very tense. You're sort of creeping through the levels. You've got to use teamwork. Yes.
Yeah, teamwork is super crucial. I'm really glad.
Image captured in-game or in-engine from PC, reformatted for non-VR.
And
okay.
When you combine the pace, the kind of games that we're talking about, the kind of influence.
So is this multiplayer only?
Immersion
Because then if that won't work with PSVR, it's not popular enough.
Guy's gonna get revived. Like there's so many.
I can only think of Farpoint that's maintained a multiplayer network base.
And just the freedom of motion and movement and sort of being able to spin around and see people trying to sneak up on you and flank you. It really feels
This is like VR Rainbow Six Siege type thing, or not Siege, but Rainbow Six.
It was this and really this game is the one that made me say, I get it. You know, VR, now I can really see what's possible here.
Still there, Andrew?
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just got some weird. Well, I got some bad news. So I'm just.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Alternate. I was gonna record something tomorrow with a friend for recovery, and they canceled. And
but when you see
gotcha.
So I have to figure out an alternate plan now.
Decisions and tactical.
So I was just racking my brain on what to do. Sorry, you were saying something. I wasn't listening. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's just this PSVR game looks like it's SWAT team oriented. It looks like Rainbow Six in VR.
It sounds like it induced a lot of motion sickness.
No, the latency has gotten much better in PSVR games over the last year that's come out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. Really, that initial launch window, those were the only, at least in my experience, those are the only games that hit me with any motion sickness at all. Oh man, I don't know if this game's gonna work though. This game, Firewall 0 Hour. I just, whenever I've played a PSVR game that's online oriented and multiplayer based, it just, people play it for like a week and then it's gone. The whole player base is disappeared and moved on to the next PSVR title.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rec Room is a free game, and that still has a multiplayer base, but I personally don't like Rec Room. It's just a buggy mess.
Just sort of a run and gun, dash through the level, get as many kills as you can. It's a more methodical, creep your way in, hopefully undetected, flank.
Yeah, it's like Rainbow Six, just PSVR.
It's a cat and mouse game. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
So is there like at least a decent gameplay that would make it not so bad even if everybody quit or not?
Well, I think if there's bots in it, that'd be good. They're not really confirming that. I think it'd be cool if they added, you know, just like even the story could be non-existent, but just add goals. Like go take out this bad guy before the bomb explodes. Just, you know, simple narratives like that.
Okay.
Go hack this and maintain a base before, you know, dogs come in. I don't know.
You're not looking for much, you're just looking for something.
Right, like give me an initiative to care about this.
What's your feedback been like, and how have you been balancing the gunplay?
Like the game itself looks great.
It was hard to hear that. So you've been testing the game a lot, you know, getting closer to launch. How's your feedback been?
But you still want to know that if I?
Really good.
Sorry, waking up. But you still want to know if I'm buying this that I'll be able to play it, like, you know, 6 months from now.
Right. Yeah, that's always a concern with online-oriented games.
People really feel.
I mean, they usually do retain some of the fan base. It's usually not as long.
Well, if it's so small, then you'd just be in menus waiting for people to join all the time.
Especially when you play with that,
you say that like it's a bad thing.
Movements that the other players are making, kind of ducking behind.
That's what everybody wants to do. Wait 20 minutes for a server to come on.
Formula to a level I've never seen before, and it just makes it so much more immersive.
Well, you can do simple things like if you look at this footage right now, you can move straight ahead like in a shooter, but you can turn your head and look down a hallway and not.
That's a game changer.
I mean,
it's super game changing.
It's not
but
part of the fun.
And it's even hard to display in a 2D video.
Yeah.
But when you strap on that VR headset, you check this thing out, you'll see what we're talking about. Guys, always a pleasure to get an update on Firewall. We're all looking forward to that. Do we have any
no wonder
release timing?
Can't say that yet, but it's very, very,
stupid air conditioner was on medium. How dare it?
The game looks pretty much done.
Oh, when is it supposed to come out?
They can't say.
Oh, petrified pumpkins.
Yeah, guys like that are really starting to get it going now.
Why can't they
It's
say?
fantastic to see people getting.
I guess there's like an embargo or something with PlayStation for now.
Firewall 0 Hour.
That's interesting.
We're all looking forward to that when it's coming to PlayStation VR pretty soon. Also coming soon.
Oh, they're showing Mario Party on Nintendo E3 2018. Treehouse.
What's going on?
They're showing Mario Party now.
Are they?
Brought back multipass. I'm so happy.
What's multipass?
Multipath.
Oh, multipass. Yeah. They showed that in the conference. They teased that.
Because fuck.
Yeah, it's a board game again.
Well, to be fair, board games are fairly linear, but it adds more variety instead
Yeah.
of just I mean, it's always get from point A to point B, but now you can actually have options instead of just whatever the dice roll.
Right. Exactly, yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh?
They're actually gonna do one of those the 2-switch thing.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that for sure.
They're just talking about it now.
Yeah.
Hold on.
And PlayStation's really emphasizing Destiny 2 Forsaken on their floor.
Oh.
Hi everybody, welcome to PlayStation Live from E3. Kristen and I are very excited to be joined by Nicholas, and we're going to talk about Astrobot Rescue Mission.
All right, Astrobot, let's see what you got.
Remember these little bots from Playroom or Playroom VR if they had a chance to play that. So why did you decide to take these little bots on a new thematic journey?
So with the Astrobot, we're making a VR platform game. We're taking our robots into a
okay. So it's like team events.
It's very much
where you use like 2 switches, and it's basically a lineup game.
That's where they live.
And there might be other things.
That sounds pretty cool. I'd be down for that.
And so you go on a rescue mission.
That does require other friends to have a Switch.
Yes.
In this kind of VR environment. So the big thing about VR gameplay is that you can look all around you. So with the classic platformer, you get like this
I notice a lot of European studios are developing PSVR games, not so much anyone else.
Yeah, and we're seeing a little bit of it right here. I know it's very different than your traditional side-scrolling platformer.
So is Super Mario Party going back to form, to like the 64 and GameCube days?
It looks like it.
Yeah, because that's what I want out of it, for sure.
Astrobot is actually, we did a test.
I mean, they're still throwing in some of their latest gimmicks, but...
game inside the Playroom VR called Robot
Oh, this looks great. Astrobot looks so much fun.
Platform game in VR. And it turns out to be really
okay, so it's like a side thing. It's not even in the game itself. It's like Toad's Rec Room. It's probably for some extras.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Like a really, really big game. And one of the big things we're adding are big VR moments like this one. You're kind of running up alongside this giant arm. And the bosses are also like one of the big things. You know, in VR, everything feels huge.
Yeah.
And so bosses in VR, that's something.
Oh, I am so down with this this Astrobot game.
Inside the VR headset.
Oh, and you can just play You can just play a bunch of mini games randomly.
Here you can see like.
If you so choose.
As you play the game, yeah.
You actually
That's
see
neat.
From below, which is something that is completely unique in VR.
You can make your own game out of that in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you just want to do something quick for like a fun little quick party game.
Defined path, but in VR, you are the camera, so you can actually play any.
Now we see like some of the traditional stuff with regular platformers. There's coins to collect. Obviously, we've got like some little hover modes and jump modes.
Oh, this game looks amazing. It looks so simple, but yet effective.
We have is the DualShock 4, becomes visible in your hands in VR.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely something you don't see in a lot of VR titles right now.
You can mess with the controller. Yeah, you could.
And then by flicking on the touchpad, you can actually destroy the environment to make a path for your character.
Yeah, you could do kind of. You could kind of do that in the Playroom VR.
But every now and then, you have a job as a, you exist in that world too, and it's very much a teamwork, in fact. So at kind of key moments, we punctuate the game with these interactions using.
Oh, this is super neat.
Like for example, planting these ninja stars inside the tatami to make platforms for your character, or using a hook shot to make.
Oh, this game is so mine.
You have to cross a ravine over. Like for example, these are examples of other gadgets in the game.
Yep, the tether's back.
Designs are gorgeous, by the way.
Yeah. I love how vibrant the colors are too. The color palette.
Yeah, very
So,
colorful.
The other thing we kind of really expanded upon is the world of these characters. You know, adding lots of kind of enemies.
That looks
The
like a fun
character
mini
design
game.
as well is very much a big expansion on what Playroom used to be. So we have like a cast of 30 baddies. You know, these 6 kind of huge bosses.
How many worlds do you get to play in?
So there are 26 levels.
Okay.
26 levels.
Worlds, but every level is pretty much unique. So you kind of travel through like, you know, firelands and kind of, you know, up in the sky, and we always try
using the controller to advance through the world, or is it moving naturally as you move the character?
26 stages that are kind of more like challenge stages, or like a little bit more kind of skillful.
It might be both.
So altogether, there's actually a lot of content, and it's probably around 8.
Sweet robot monkey boss.
Now you mentioned the rescue
Donkey
mission
Kong with
being so
headphones.
popular as a side quest. Will there be also little side quests in these worlds as well?
Yes, so you don't have to rescue all the little guys, but you know, in VR you have this 3D audio.
Oh, that's so
you can
neat.
hear where sound is coming from, and you can actually, just by closing your eyes and listening, you can tell if a character calling for help is just down below, or kind of that's obviously getting your entire crew is the ultimate goal of the game. So there is a main.
I will
get to replay
be right back.
Sure. So Super Mario Party looks good.
Finally, like,
yeah, it looks actually pretty fun.
Great.
And they're actually using HD Rumble on top of that.
Well, that's it has to. It has to use HD Rumble.
I mean, of all the games, it should be one of the ones that uses HD Rumble. Alright, I'll be right back.
You can spend all your coins inside this machine and create like a big toy collection inside the room, and you can kind of play with it as well. So there is always like a kind of something else to do on the side. If you want to take a break from the adventure, you can actually go back to the.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Here.
2018?
For 2018, yeah. So a few more weeks to go.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, well, Nicholas, thank you so much for stopping by. Kristen, any last thoughts?
I just can't wait to play, honestly.
Thank
It
you.
looks so gorgeous. I want to look around everywhere. Oh, look at
That's
him
very
go.
cool. All right, Nicholas, any last thoughts you'd like to share with the PlayStation fans out there that are watching?
Well, I think probably like talking about VR, you know, like when you look at it on the screen, I think it never quite does justice to VR games. You know, VR games is something you have to try. And I think with this game in particular, something I realized as we worked through it, I think the appeal was a combination of there's obviously a lot of new technologies, so it's kind of very much a modern game because of the VR element. But because it's a classic genre, there is an element of nostalgia as well. And I think it's a combination of the two that is making it Astrobot quite a special game. You know, it is the kind of game that maybe you imagine in your head, you know, as you play the platform games being smaller. Yeah.
That's very cool.
I love this mechanic here.
Okay, look at those ninja stars one more time. All right, well, Nicholas, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for bringing Astrobots, and it'll be coming fall 2018, so you'll be able to get your hands on
Oh, right.
real soon. Stick around, we have a lot more coming up on Live from PlayStation at E3.
Come on. Astro Bot. Come on. Fall 2018. Sweet. That's good. That's good. That's a good thing to hear coming out of that. Fall 2018. All right, so next is Tetris Effect. Oh. Neat, neat, neat. Fantastic. PlayStation's nailing their live while I'm still on the fence about Nintendo, but I'm definitely gonna go back and watch that Super Mario Party thing. But
Hello, my friends, and welcome back. We are here still at PlayStation Live from E3 in our more than an hour of PlayStation VR programming, and it is a great honor for me to introduce our next guests. Talking about the Tetris effect, I have Tetsuya Mizuguchi-san. I have Mark McDonald from Enhanced Games. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much. Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's our pleasure, and we have a lot to talk about with the Tetris effect. Meredith, I know you have some questions as well.
So many.
But I want to start by saying kind of, Mizuguchi-san, what are some of your kind of thoughts and feelings, the reactions that you had after your game was finally revealed just before E3 during our countdown to E3?
Yeah, we had a very positive reaction from the people who watched the trailer. It's very trippy and.
All right, Tetris effect. Give me gameplay.
Beaming. I remember I came into the office the day after it had premiered, and just huge smile, and we hugged each other. And, you know, it's only been a week, and we were just checking last night, and we got 1 million views. And for us, that's a huge, huge deal. All credit, all thanks to you guys, but like we couldn't have been happier. A lot of people saying that they watched it like 2 and 3 and 4 times.
Yeah.
People really like the music. Like they got what we wanted to do with the
Tetris Effect is like this luminous res type game.
So we had tons of questions. Who, wrote this song and who is
that's
the
true.
singer like that.
Are you willing to share the music from that first
not
trailer?
detail yet.
Yet? All right,
the funny part is the song actually doesn't have a name yet. So it's all original music. It's music from the game. It's actually from the first level of the game. If you play it at E3 at the Sony, it's at the VR booth behind closed doors for the media. But the footage that you're seeing now, that's actually the first stage. That is the track. The track from the trailer is the track from the first stage. So please enjoy. Please look forward. If you really like the music, you can buy, the game. You can't buy it on iTunes right now, but you can get it in the game.
Well, I think too, like, just the original Tetris that all.
Oh my God! Give me Tetris Effect immediately.
So memorable. It's something that you like sing in your head and you hum it. So to do another Tetris game with just as memorable music is such an accomplishment.
That's definitely part of the idea. So the Tetris Effect is to like lose yourself in the game. Like the trailer explains, there is this thing called the Tetris effect where it's like a real studied phenomenon where you keep seeing the pieces. We've all had it when you're going to sleep and whatever. What we wanted to do is amplify that so when you're playing the game, you just completely get out of your head. You're just so absorbed in the game that everything else melts away, especially in VR, but even playing on a normal, 2D flat display. And then, hopefully it also lingers, like the Tetris effect. You just keep thinking about it. You can't get that song out of your head. You can't get those visuals out of your head, etc.
I have a question for Mizuguchi-san. You have had a long and storied career.
Yeah, this game looks incredible.
Career, if I may, creating Rez and Luminous and so many beloved games. Where did the Tetris effect really start for you in your mind? When did it first come to you, and why was it important for you to create this game?
So actually, back in 2003, 4.
Wow.
That was 15 years ago. So the first PSP came out. Remember?
PSP.
PSP.
Yeah.
PlayStation Portable. So
I have Luminous on the PSP.
I thought about if we make Tetris with music, it must be awesome. But I couldn't make that, for many reasons. The licensing and the many reasons.
Rock out with your cocks out.
That,
that's gonna be what Tetris Effect is It looks fantastic.
But I couldn't forget about
it's like Luminous has stepped up its game, kind of deal. And then it's focusing on what Rez did with matching the music to. Well, that's what Luminous was matching the music.
Type of experience. So, and we had this.
It's a one game I care about from Sony is the Japanese Samurai. Oh, Ghost of Tsushima? Yeah, that looks incredible. So you don't like any of the other games like Spider-Man or Death Stranding or Last of Us 2? I mean, I could keep going all day.
So how can we combine a zone experience?
It's definitely more than what Xbox showed.
And music sounds and a new type of storytelling. And
Yeah, see, yeah, Death Stranding, they're purposely shrouding that game in mystery too.
Yeah, that was long history process.
Yeah.
That's
so,
amazing.
Yeah,
But
and we had 2 years.
So Xbox showed.
And 1.5 production.
Wow. Yeah, it's been gestating for a long time. When I met
Xbox showed. I know they showed Forza Horizon 4.
Tetris Effect was already.
Yeah, they showed 3 different Gears games. They showed They showed a Gears Pop mobile game. They showed a Gears Tactics game. That one looked all right. And then Gears 5, more Gears. Boy, they're really running that franchise into the ground, just like Halo. Forza Horizon 4 looked like a solid game. I'm still excited about We Happy Few, but it needs to come out already. But that, I'm just gonna get that off Steam or something.
I was just gonna ask.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm still a little bit worried on Forza Horizon 4. It looks like Drive Club and Project Cars molded together. It definitely, it's not necessarily a good thing. And then Xbox showed a bunch of third-party games that I can get on my PS4. They showed Devil May Cry 5. They showed they showed Anthem, which that
beautiful that people can enjoy and kind of escape.
Yeah, Gears Tactics. I mean,
there's a lot of
I don't know what to. It was just so odd. They showed Tomb Raider. Like, great. I'm gonna get those on my PS4. I'm not gonna get it on an Xbox. Now, Sekiro was the other samurai game by From Software, the Dark Souls people. That one looks awesome. It's Tenchu, but it's not Tenchu.
Normally, you might be like, I'm just going to watch Netflix, but no, we want a game where you're like, no, I need to relax. I'm going to play Tetris Effect and unwind and just lose myself, get out of my head for 30 minutes an hour or something like that.
I actually got to play Tenchu for the podcast recording this weekend. So.
Knows Tetris.
And I picked that game on purpose because of the rumors that Tenchu was going to come out from Software, but they came out with Sekiro, which is basically Tenchu. Remake of Wrath of Heaven. What's Wrath of Heaven? Andrew, are you familiar with Wrath of Heaven?
Nope, not at all. I'm not.
You do, it's fine. Yeah. Sit back, relax.
I went mostly handheld gaming for a while there.
Oh, Tenchu Wrath of Heaven. What is that? Is that the PS3 one that came out that didn't do well?
It says PS2.
Thank you for joining me today. And we have more PlayStation VR content coming up in just a
PS2
minute.
Xbox.
Stay with us from PlayStation Live.
PS2 Xbox. I've only played. That was the second one. Okay. Was that the empty ninja one? Was Tenchu Wrath of Heaven? Tenchu 2? I feel like that was the one where it was basically a PS1 game for PlayStation. So Luminous type VR. Alright. Tenchu Z? Nah, it wasn't epic. It was broken. They turned Tenchu into an action game, and it's not. Alright, so Ghost Giant. The Ghost Giant's giving me vibes of Wrath of Heaven. I do remember liking Tenchu 2. I don't remember the Wrath of Heaven part at all,
guys,
obviously.
We're here live from the PlayStation booth at E3 to talk about a new PlayStation VR game that was announced just last week in PlayStation's Countdown to E3 program, and that title is Ghost Giant. It's very charming. We've got the guys from Zoink here.
Zoink.
Welcome, folks.
Hi.
Great to have
Scooby-Doo
you.
fans.
Yeah. So we have a little bit of footage. I want to show people what this thing looks like.
We're from Studio Zoink. We couldn't use the S because that's copyright. And
great message about sort of relationships and friendships.
There's nothing wrong with loving Scooby-Doo.
Wrath of Heaven was not the second one. Yeah, I thought Tenchu 2 didn't have a subtitle.
We're really trying to put a story in there that we feel has a message that is important.
Maybe all of you want to talk.
Yeah, Ghost Giant reminds me of Moss in so many ways.
The Ghost Giant, like
2 was Birth of the Stealth Assassins. That sounds more familiar.
Very lonely and sad.
Then I probably never played Wrath of Heaven.
On a sunflower farm together with his mom, and he's quite overworked and trying to handle, meeting friends and at the same time juggling work and
This game looks adorable. Andrew, it's adorable.
help him out through his everyday life.
Yeah.
It's like his superpower.
Aww. Is it super adorbs?
It was.
And
One of the developers looks like he's high out of his mind with his 70s porn stash.
Oh my god, JD. Disgaea Complete. Disgaea 1 Complete is out on the Nintendo Switch this October.
Ooh.
I mean, at Sewing, we've done a lot of story-based games before, and I thought...
That's what apparently Nippon Ichi Software America announced. They put up the trailer.
With the main character.
Oh, are you still watching the Nintendo Treehouse?
No, I'm on Twitter and that's.
Oh, okay. When you feel sad and lonely, just remember, a crazy ghost giant can calm you down. Alright, time to live tweet.
It's not, oh my god. It's not Viridian. Silphco. Oh my god. I've already forgotten what town it
I got
is.
good vibes when I was playing Breath of the Wild and had to infiltrate the thief base. Yeah, I mean, if you want Tenchu, that's looking like what Sekiro Shadow Dies Twice is going for. And because they didn't use the Tenchu name, that's really smart because then they could make a super stealth game and call that Tenchu to rebuild the franchise. It's good on them.
The game in the beginning, of course, the big part of it is really just making sure that he is not scared of you. Of course, making sure that you actually are an okay person to have, and that part is. I thought that would be really funny to actually and really interesting to sort of like, almost like having a little animal. I mean, you are quite scary to make sure that you are a nice guy.
I'm so into these games that they're showing. Like even the SWAT game, Firewall Zero Hour, piqued my interest.
Yeah. So the gameplay is really much about like in a way. I mean, we work a lot.
No sense in pre-ordering something. You can just get it the day of. The games just don't sell out like they used to anymore. Although, when Tokyo Mirage Sessions came out in Toronto, that game was impossible to find, and you couldn't even pre-order it. I guess there just wasn't. They figured there wasn't a demand for it at all.
Wow, that's still pretty weird.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the main attraction.
So mechanically, you're sort of trying to set things right in the world as the Ghost Giant, right? I mean, you're
where he lives, there's only one game shop. So games sell out like mad.
Tell us a little bit about how that works.
Yeah, do you wanna?
Yeah, we're looking for like a.
Well, places take it. There's usually not a limit on pre-orders they can take. There's no hurry on it. I'd wait till like a release date comes out and then you pre-order it.
would like build worlds and build little towns of cardboard box, or and imagine that the toys would have actual life, and that's something we try to channel into the style of the game, and it's.
Yeah.
I mean, Hyrule Warriors was a major pain in the ass. What, for the Switch or the Wii U?
Could have made it, so it feels playful. It feels.
Didn't Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition come out for Switch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it did.
Yeah, it did.
The only good Dynasty Warriors game that's out right now.
Basically, I'm just glad all these Wii U games are coming out on the Switch. People can actually play them now.
I owned a Wii U, so there's no sense in me playing it. But I haven't been to into any Dynasty Warriors game since the PS2 era.
Pretty much.
Those games just get so boring to me so fast.
Yeah. That he needs to push him forward to help him through these obstacles.
I've talked to people that play the Dynasty Warriors games to learn about Chinese history and whatnot. I was like, well, you better not get the latest one, Dynasty Warriors 9, because that was a piece of crap. There was no history in that.
That's also why they have such a great connection to each other, why you have a great connection to him. And obviously it's so great. I mean, I always, first time I saw VR, I thought it was so cool that you actually could put your hands through stuff, go into houses, grab stuff from behind, poke somebody.
Alright, give me a release date on Ghost Giant.
Not scared of them, but play around with them.
Pirate Warriors 3, Hyrule Warriors, and Berserk. And I'm getting Fire Emblem Warriors. Fire Emblem Warriors is a bad game. It's a bad game. The AI is beyond stupid. Like, they don't even attack you. Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's shaping up really well.
But if you're into the monotony of what a Dynasty Warriors game without a challenge, like that's Fire Emblem Warriors.
Forward to there.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. That was
It's not as bad as Dynasty Warriors 9 by any means.
VR and a whole bunch of other great games coming up all day long. Stay with us.
Yeah, Hyrule Warriors was a solid game.
That's good.
Yeah. But Fire Emblem Warriors doesn't even reach half of what Hyrule did. They just pumped it out to take money from you, basically. It's such a bare bones game. And the AI's dumb. Alright, so they didn't have a release date on Ghost Giant, or I must have missed it. Next is Creed Rise to Glory. This is, I believe, the boxing game, the Punch-Out VR game. Which will get me to work out, I suppose, more often than I do.
I mean, one is more often than zero. But
Ordered Splatoon 2, so it should be there by then. I am so peeved at how they announced the Splatoon 2 story DLC. I mean, it's coming.
They announced it in a direct a while back, to be fair.
Well, no, like, it's releasing. Because even in the Nintendo conference, they go, summer 2018 sometime. I'm like, okay, so July or August, like, that's stupid. Why wouldn't you just give it, you should know a date, and then randomly, after the Splatoon 2 World Championship, they just go, oh, by the way, it's out tomorrow. I'm just like, what? Why wouldn't you tell us that during the conference when more eyes are watching it?
Servio's team, great to have you guys here. Wow, that's all I can say about this.
Made no sense to me.
Played this a couple of weeks ago.
Andrew, I'm no marketing expert by any means, but wouldn't you want to market something to a larger audience if you're trying to sell something?
No.
No, that's stupid? Alright.
That is very stupid. Why would you want to do that?
Why would you want to try and sell more? Yeah. I mean, well, you know, I didn't go to school for marketing, so I just don't know these things.
They're talking about Ice Climbers.
Oh, in Smash?
Yeah. Oh, I just switched back and they have my main, so I'm just like...
separates this from some of the other boxing games, the more traditional boxing games we've seen out there? I mean, VR just really opens up a whole new dimension here.
Oh, it absolutely does. I think, you know, from the beginning for us, it was we wanted to really make Melee in VR feel incredible, right? That's really.
I'm gonna look up Ghost Giant right now. I hope I didn't.
Eugene and myself for what, several years now, like we really want to do this, and we finally had the opportunity here to make hitting things and getting hit feel just incredible. And this is
yeah, fuck Punch Out. I'm getting Creed. This looks incredible.
Melee technology, and I'm gonna let Eugene explain that in just a second.
May, they're in the chat. You watching this? Like, holy crap.
People have been trying to solve this in VR, but they've been doing it in ways where they're fighting the systems. And we really just had to embrace your game avatar and your player avatar as separate concepts. As soon as we separated those and gamified it, that just unlocked the incredible see in the game today.
I mean, just real quick here, we're seeing some footage, and I mean,
why do you keep doing that?
Not
you, the dum-dum.
That is the thing. It doesn't feel like it's sort of some artifice. It's some sort of reality.
That was a good one.
Like you're waiting for him to expose his cheek.
Yeah, it's not telling me.
You crack him with it. It's just
Ghost Giant has a release date.
When we set out to make this game,
Punch Out in VR. This is crazy.
And with it, we didn't want to create something more of a Punch Out. While we love Punch Out, but we didn't want it to be the memorization of patterns and gesture based. Oh, this is a duck. This is a this is a slip. This is a punch. So we set out with Defensive Melee. How do we make punching feel really good? How do we make dodging feel really good?
So they liked Punch Out, but they don't want a memorization of moves.
You inside a movie, you're Adonis Creed, and with it, like Defensive Melee allowed us to do that.
So you're not memorizing move patterns, okay?
Oh, that's a shame. Wait, what game is this?
This is Creed Rise to Glory. It's basically Punch Out in VR, but they're saying they want replayability value and difficulty for the boxing match to feel more real because you're in VR. That makes sense to me.
So the story is not tied to Creed 1 or Creed 2. We worked hard with MGM to create its own story that resides in the Creed universe, which was great. It allowed us to craft the player experience the way we wanted to. the fighters we wanted to. In the end, it's all about the fight, and it's all about Adonis training with Rocky, you know,
Wow.
from an underdog to become the best fighter.
Yeah, it is Punch Out.
Yeah, you're watching this now as well?
Well, I'm watching their thing from back in May. Link me to where you are watching your thing right now.
Upon the universe, not just relive exactly what you saw in the films. So the first film has already been out. The second one's coming out, I believe, around Thanksgiving later this year. Really stoked about that.
Oh, I didn't know a second Creed movie was coming out. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I still need to watch the first one.
Flesh out some of his story that you don't see in the films, right? So we're actually going to go to some of the earlier fights that they talk about, but they don't show. Some content in between the two films. We're really excited about.
That's really, really interesting. Can you also tell us a little bit about single player versus multiplayer?
Well,
they're...
right now we haven't right now we're focusing on single player.
Oh, cool! It even has like special attacks and stuff happening. That's pretty sweet.
We're not fully announcing anything yet.
So here we are. We just got knocked out of the body. This is what you were talking about earlier. And we are making these motions, like sort of running motions. Run back into the
so to get up off the canvas. So what happens when a guy knocks you out? You go into like this ghost mode, and you have to like do locomotion type movement to get back to your body to beat the 10 count. That's pretty neat.
The disconnect happens when the
here we go.
Think of the same things. So as soon as we had the player pumping their arms, moving like they were ice skating, if you will, or cross-country skiing, that was the solve. That was the magic. And you see, now that we have locomotion, we're going to be using it in all of our projects going forward. So you see, as Adonis, he got knocked out by Rhino there. He punched.
Yeah, the use of the locomotion controls is becoming very huge in VR. It's really tackled a lot of issue people are having with any sort of like movement and motion sickness, because the VR makes you feel like you're like it tricks your mind into thinking your body's moving, which it's not. The locomotion at least puts some pressure and movement through your body, so it's not as jarring to the user, to the player.
It's just a really satisfying, very, very special game.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward.
That was really the thing for us is, you know, there's a lot of amazing VR experiences out there, but we're really focused on active VR. You know, full body, moving around, and it's more immersive. It draws you into the experience. As soon as you're moving, you're fighting like you would in real life as a boxer. You're throwing a punch like you throw a real punch. Maybe I'm not as fit as I should be, right? Maybe I should get a little more cardio in and be able to get out of the way. But being able to block, being able to move, that's the magic of VR. This is something that you can't get in any other medium, and that's what the
this looks
PSVR
great.
really allows us to do.
What's after Creed here?
Going to not just appeal to boxing fans, but just fans.
Vacation Simulator, and then Dreams, and then it's over. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't want to make, once again, a boxing simulator. We wanted to put an even playing ground for different people.
Isn't Dreams? It says developer interview.
For example, there's a...
Which is fine. I watched a bunch of Dreams gameplay yesterday, where a guy.
VR or no?
Yeah, it's coming to VR day one.
Okay.
And you can
They just start slap fighting.
you can make that's the game where you can make anything you want. It has a whole developer toolkit.
And then you start trailing behind you.
Like I'm gonna get that game and just play levels people create. Essentially.
You can't do that. You can do anything you want.
I don't know if I'll make anything myself. I'll try, maybe. Just like Mario Maker, I'll try a few levels.
Get more tactical. Choose your shots, just like a real fighter, right?
Exactly. You got to be strategic.
They learn it right away too. You see it as soon as you all of a sudden you feel that latency.
When I was done with the Little Big Planet story mode, I would just play other people's levels for hours. Super cool.
The players learn that in 2 seconds. So it's like, wow, that didn't work. They stop that negative behavior, right? And soon as they stop that negative behavior, they start acting like I'm a real boxer.
Holy crap, this game.
I need to block, I need to dodge.
Now I see why they're so excited to talk about it. PlayStation.
And you're going to get tired in real life, too, if you try it anyway. But yeah, no flailing in this game. This is a precise boxing game. I played it. I loved it.
No flailing in this game.
It's a precise boxing game.
Well, it's on my radar. It's on my calendar. And we've all gotten to look here at Creed, Rise to Glory.
Oh, that game makes me smile.
Stopping by. You guys are VR stars in my
This is cool. A lot of good PSVR games are being set to come out. So the way I look at a lot of the PSVR games that are out, is it reminds me of kind of the old arcade type style. you know, in the 80s and even to the early 90s. I'm like looking at everything that's coming out, what I have, and I go and I think to myself, wow, if I was an Atari guy, like a lot of these games that are out remind me of that. Like the games are so simplistic, but you want to keep playing them. I think that's I don't know.
No, it makes sense.
And I mean, it's just what a lot of developers are capable of. I'm really hoping Resident Evil 2, the HD remake, comes out in VR, just like Resident Evil 7 had that option. That would just make me have to change my pants multiple times in just fear. I already forgot what was coming up. Vacation Simulator. Oh, okay.
Wait, did they make another Kickboxer movie?
Kickboxer movie?
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to PlayStation.
Yeah, they did Kickboxer Revenge, or sorry, Kickbox Vengeance, and now there's a Kickboxer Retaliation was released last year. Oh, I have to watch this now. Mike Tyson's apparently in.
Oh God. More Iron Mike.
Vacation.
Always.
You were done with your job, and now
I love it. Sloane's vow to never return to Thailand is cut short when he's kidnapped and taken to a Thai prison where he's forced to fight a 400-pound brute.
Came out in PlayStation.
This movie is violent. Oh, Netflix. This movie, Hitman 3. This movie is exciting.
This year, right?
Yeah, late 2018, early 2019.
Okay, excellent. Well, it's really good to have you guys here. Why
Vacation Simulator coming to VR at the end of the year, essentially. All right.
We were kind of thinking about what we were going to build next and kind of going through that creative process. All of a sudden, we kind of landed on this concept.
I don't know if I'm probably not getting Vacation Simulator.
Like, what's next?
What? No.
Is that it's the year 2050, just like in Job Simulator, and robots have taken all human jobs, and they made the Job Simulator, and the Job Simulator was super successful with humans. So then they were like, what else did humans used to do? And vacations were a thing they used to do.
Yeah, totally.
But a big difference here is that
To be fair, Job Simulator was a bit fun. That's a nice little.
But now they've built this vacation simulator, and why
I mean, it's goofy.
That doesn't make any sense.
Vacation Simulator looks goofy.
So tell me a little
But I know exactly what happened to it. I'll play it for like 30 minutes, goof around, and I'll be done. I'll never play it again.
Around on the beach a lot. How do you guys actually build an interactive, like, progressive game out of that?
Like, the gameplay they're showing right now is the dude splashing in water.
Just like bots don't really understand relaxation. Like, what are you doing? What are you actually accomplishing? Like, that's one of the big questions that comes up in the game. And for us, it was about providing something for everyone. So everyone vacations a little bit differently, and
Everyone vacations differently.
Activities in the destinations reflect that.
All
So
right.
on the beach, you can have
My note will be goof off.
castle, which is really puzzly oriented and very logical, or you can just go hang out and do sports, which is much more like twitchy.
I almost bowled another 300 last night.
Oh, that's awesome, man. How'd you fucking out?
I just got unlucky with the way the ball popped at the end there in the ninth frame. I went 8 in a row, and then the very next game I went 10 in a row, and then I left a pin. I was like, shit! Just the bowling gods weren't on my side.
Not this time. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
You guys have made something not only that's was successful, but also it's high fidelity. It's it's actually even though it's a vacation, it's very complex. And you're able to
Sandcastle sandbox.
I mean, tell me a little bit about the internal workings of Alchemy Labs and how you guys sort of divide and conquer.
Yeah, so when we started working on Job Simulator, it became very important to us in VR to have your hands were the key. The hands and physics and interacting with a world that was super.
Yeah,
and so we ended up putting
I'm gonna have to pass on Vacation Simulator.
And we've just continuously been building on that, and now we have this great framework that then we could build Vacation Simulator on. But now just like pushed it even further.
Do you feel like this? Would you consider this a sequel? Is this the next evolution of jobbing, except vacationing? How do you define it?
As a studio, we rarely work on the same genre twice. So in Job Simulator, there was 4 jobs, and they were all separate.
Right.
And so we're like, okay, that was really cool, but what if we made it more of like an adventure game? And so in Vacation Simulator, everything's connected. There's a story through line, and
Next evolution of jobbing is clearly Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground comes out today. I'm so excited. Be calm.
Oh, nice.
Be calm.
How have you been able to balance?
He's in my chat.
The game along with.
Why is he in your chat and not in voice chat?
Games have been hilarious.
It's season 4 hype.
I mean, some
Season
of the
3
keys
already
to
came
have
out
the
last year.
mechanics themselves be kind of humorous.
You can watch season 3 on Netflix.
Like when you
Andrew, you should watch Lucha Underground on Netflix.
you can give Sportsbot a variety.
There's a wrestler who in their little universe needs to beat the Moon Demon in order to face for the title or some shit.
Like, you know, baseball or volleyball, you will play Ediball.
Andrew, Become has a message I need to convey to you.
Desperately wanted that.
Are you ready?
That one back the whole time.
Sure.
You basically get
He says his butt hurts because he ate McDonald's.
like move your mouth around to try and get
Oh,
it, and like
tell him his
that's a
butt should
mechanic
hurt
that's, like,
less.
inherently humorous. It's
And to
fun
get
do.
good.
Vacation I want.
Yeah.
My face him out.
Food cannon.
Can you tell me a little bit about for Vacation Simulator the different control inputs? I mean, are you sticking entirely with the Move controllers? Are you going to include any DualShock support? What does that look like for you guys?
So yeah, we're using the Move controllers and.
I would love to get good. I really would.
Interact with the world, every single thing. And one of the differences is in Vacation Simulator, the world is much bigger. But an important thing to us was to still make it as dense.
Yeah, Andrew, this presentation of Vacation Simulator is really bizarre.
So it's been
it's not very good. They literally use the phrase "the next level of jobbing."
Yeah, yeah.
Mechanics, like for example, you can reach over your shoulder, grab your backpack, and it's an inventory.
Hello,
and then
Become.
there's a camera, and you can
My butt hurts.
Your butt hurts. Aw.
Get good, bro. Get good.
I think I went to the bathroom like 37 times last night. It was
Jesus
not
Christ.
Wow. Okay. It probably wasn't the actually, it might be the McDonald's. They might have given you some weird shit.
The McDonald's just like I don't know. I ate too much of it, and I think that just like killed I don't know. It agitated my stomach and my intestines, and it was fun.
You guys are weak. You need to have more of the shitty food so your body gets used to it.
I made some brown rice and some black beans just now.
Oh, that sounds
after
good.
not eating anything. Yeah, and that was all right. That went.
I've been on a kick of eating food like that lately as well. Yeah.
Had some nice bell peppers in there.
So the games they've covered for PSVR of games coming out soon is Evasion. It's a first-person shooter, but it's got like shoot 'em up arcade tactics involved in it. It looks pretty cool. Like enemies were moving around, kind of like a Galaga type stuff in 3D. Yeah.
Oh, it's coming to HTC Vive as well. Okay, cool.
Why, do you have a Vive?
Yeah, I do. I barely use it though.
That's a shame because that's like the best VR, but nothing comes out for it.
It's such a freaking bummer to me.
It's
I just wish
easily
some of
the best VR.
PSVR would come to HTC Vive because it is easily the best. And so the little games that I do have with it are really fun. It's just nothing like the PlayStation VR experience has come to the HTC Vive. So it's depressing.
Isn't it because it requires such a large use of space to set up? Is that maybe the issue?
Yeah, it's more expensive. I don't know why more developers aren't developing for it. I think PlayStation is possibly, they might have a program that incentivizes developers to develop VR games for their system.
Well, a lot of the Oculus games also end up getting ported to PSVR, which is really cool. There actually was an Oculus game showed at the the PC gaming show that stuck out to me. It was called.
Which reminds me, I feel a little bit bad for Oculus. They basically got left behind in the game they kind of started.
Well, their CEO went ludicrously insane, so well, I don't know, maybe not, but just like he went off the walls. So
I know I wrote it somewhere.
While JD's finding that, I would just add that
Stormland.
Stormland. Part of the reason that PlayStation VR is getting so many more games is most likely because the developers know that if they put their game out on PSVR, Sony will market their game for them too, which is going to lead to way more sales than like the Wild West that is HTC Vive and Steam. So yeah.
Does Oculus still exist?
So on top of Oculus had a bunch of patent. They got sued for a bunch of patent issues, and ripping off technology.
I thought it was the reverse. I thought they were suing the guy who left the company.
No, they were getting sued. And maybe they countersued. Yeah, I've definitely seen quite a few good PSVR games showcased here. Astrobot looks like an amazing, cute platformer. Ghost Giant is my adorable radar. I think broke when I saw that game. Tetris.
Oh, yeah, that game looks cool.
Yeah, Tetris Effect. Like, take my money now.
Yeah, that looks awesome. Even just for the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, exactly. They're like, well, the soundtrack's gonna be out on iTunes, but not right now. So you're just gonna have to play the game to hear it. Creed Rise to Glory is basically Punch-Out in PSVR. Again, that looks like take my money immediately.
That was a surprise, and I was like, man, I loved Creed, and I'm hyped for Creed 2.
They even said
they
even said they put like their own type of story in it. They kept it away from the movies. Gee, that's almost like something freaking Star Wars should do, right?
Star Wars should maybe do that, yes.
Yeah.
God damn.
I'm kind of disappointed we're not seeing anything on Star Child. I think the Persistence is coming out next month. I'm interested in that. Jupiter Mars? I don't know what Jupiter Mars was.
It's like the Playroom guy. Huh. It looks like a Playroom thing. Oh, this is Retrobot. That's different.
I still need to get Super Hot on PSVR for sure.
I think that was... was that free on Xbox or free on PlayStation Plus at some point? I don't remember. I have it for one of those, but not in VR.
Yeah, I need my VR Super Hot. Sure. It's like the one game I'm missing. I'm missing quite a few games actually.
Yeah, Beat Saber looks really fun. I kind of want to play that.
Beat Saber, yeah, take my money. That hype is real. When's Beat Saber coming out?
That's how you look like Star Wars kid while
Wait, hold on. Canada won the actual bid?
No, it's Mexico, US, and Canada. So everyone, all the players around the world are going to be jet lagged every fucking game.
This makes no sense. I don't get this bid. What? Honestly, why do they have them in multiple? Like, I get multiple stadiums, but why do the stadiums have to be in multiply very far different cities?
I don't know. There's 23 stadiums. That's going to be used in the World Cup. That looks that just sounds ridiculous.
To be fair,
I'm like,
these
the players
are all pre-existing stadiums, so I assume that was part of the bid.
No,
they're not falling apart like the Brazil ones.
I get it, but
because there's already an infrastructure there with the MLS and all that. But yeah, sorry.
The travel vastly affected the players in Brazil during that World Cup, and now you're going to make them not just travel in the U.S. across the nation. You're also going to make them go across 2 other countries on top of that.
Yep.
It's so dumb.
Really weird.
I don't even know why it was a joint bid to begin with. The U.S. could have easily have done it by themselves, but I'm assuming it has something to do with MLS and corruption. So...
You mean FIFA and corruption, or...?
Well, no, well, yeah. Yes. FIFA and corruption. That was inherent by the name FIFA.
Well, no, you said MLS, and I was like, what?
No, I know, but I thought when I said corruption, FIFA was automatically included.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's like, like when you say the word corruption, FIFA, there's like literally a picture of FIFA 2018 in the dictionary next to it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of, so it's just like, I just assume every decision FIFA has made is
later
just corrupt.
Okay, so Beat Saber's later this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those things like, okay, so Montreal, Edmonton, and Calgary? No, that's not what I read.
Alright, come on, move on to the Dreams developer little thing. I'll watch that for like 5 minutes and call it good. Because I watched their entire demo yesterday and I was like losing my mind.
I watched it and I kind of skipped through that section, honestly.
I really hope that game does well. I really do. I want to support that game. The innovation and idea may not appeal to a lot of people, but it's definitely kind of next level type stuff.
I'm curious to see what people create in it, for sure. I'm sure they'll create Nazi rallies and it'll be great.
I mean, it's coming out PSVR day 1. which is super exciting. Yeah.
That is cool. That is cool. That is probably one of the biggest games that PSVR has had. So
it's going to be. It's going to be.
Did you see the Resident Evil 2 gameplay? Like the 15 minutes of gameplay they showed?
No, I had to leave for bowling. Was it any good?
It looked great. It is very much like Resident Evil 4 over-the-shoulder camera for the most part. I heard a rumor that they were going to include a top-down like isometric mode, but I haven't seen that confirmed. But
kind of like what they did with the Resident Evil HD remake or remaster for the PS4.
This one definitely looks more like the main way to play this game is in Resident Evil 4 style, because they like basically completely rebuilt the game for that. But I think they will have some homages to moments that are are results of the isometric view and the tank controls in the
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
I'm hoping that game's gonna come out in PSVR, but I'm not sure they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. Even if it's like not the entire game, but man, it would be really cool if it was the entire game.
Yeah, like even Rise of the Tomb Raider had a small little PSVR section, and I'm just going around Lara Croft's mansion, and I'm just like, this is nice.
Yeah.
Can I live here instead of my shitty Rhode Island apartment? My apartment's not shitty, but it's good enough. It's not as nice as my one I used to live in Toronto or Louisiana, in fact.
Things that was like crazy to me is that the Assassin's Creed developers said
Holy shit, Pcom. Sorry, continue.
Oh.
No, continue.
What did I do?
No. It's just just something that got announced for Comic-Con in Montreal that I think you'll find interesting. But
okay. I'll just finish my point and then.
Yeah. Sorry.
The Assassin's Creed developers who are working on the Origins game, and I guess have been for a couple of years. Not Origins, Odyssey, the Greek one. They said that game world is 4 times the size of the Origins game world.
Oh my god.
And I was just like, first of all, I was like, why? Like, why would you do this? Why would you make a game bigger than Origins was already like ridiculously big and not necessarily like full of like amazing stuff like to do everywhere? So like, why would you go 4 times as big as that?
Well, that's so. I was listening to a podcast, the What Culture Gaming podcast, and they were discussing Fallout 76, and a couple of them are hardcore Fallout fans, right? And it was very interesting the points they're bringing up. They're basically kind of putting my worries into words.
Yeah,
because I've been having a tough time trying to think about like what to say and what to think on that game, and the concerns are very real. So you're taking a single player story driven focused game, right?
Right.
And moving it to this MMO sub light type game. It's like, okay, let's not write it off right away, and then. Someone from Bethesda answered some of their questions, right?
Yeah.
They go, okay, so how is the single player going to work exactly? And they go, well, you can log. It sounds like you're gonna have to. You would set up a private server and just have yourself in it, but you'd be severely. It doesn't. It sounds like they're gonna make the gameplay hinder you. It's just going to be like too hard to actually play on your own. Kind of like the old Monster Hunter games. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, oh, you could play this alone, but you'll never win.
Exactly. Like that was my main fear with that game. Is just like, how like possible is it going to be a lone wolf in that game and do anything that you really want to do?
Yeah, like, and then they couldn't get a confirmation on if there's even going to be a story. Or how, like, and if there's going to be a story, how bogged down is it going to be? How minimal is it? Kind of deal. Right. But one of the guys, I forget his name, I think it was Jules, he brought up a really good point, and this was my concern. Okay, so let's say the game is about base building. Right? But you're in the server, and there's, as the internet would be, oh, I'm just gonna blow the shit out of people or kill you or murder you, right? So you're busy building your base, and then you have one of these dudes on the internet who's just gonna inevitably just gonna be focused on getting the nuke and blowing you to Kingdom Come all the time. So all of your work to build the base then would be for naught.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So then what's the point?
Well, the one thing that I was interested in is that they said you can build a structure and then pack it up and then move it somewhere else.
So then it would be going with you?
I guess so. But the question is, if it's nuked, does it get destroyed? Or can you pack it up before it's nuked? I don't know how the hell any of that works. There's so many questions about that game.
Yeah, and then Jules also went on to say, and he said the same thing. He goes, okay, let's say you can pack it up and move it with you as you go. Hence why it's like your progress isn't severely hampered by death. Because they did emphasize that, like, oh, it's not gonna be that bad. And he goes, all right, so then is the game just gonna be about base building?
Yeah.
That's not a good enough game loop to keep people interested. And then he referenced Sea of Thieves and No Man's Sky.
Right.
Like, it'll be great for the initial play, and then nothing else after that. There's no replay incentive.
I was hoping from the trailer, based on how they were talking, that it was going to be more like, not like Ni no Kuni per se, but that whole like kingdom building kind of thing, where you go out into the world to find parts and things to make your kingdom better, you know, and to like rebuild your like vault or something to make it really awesome, kind of like Vault Builder or Fallout Shelter kind of thing, but I mean more advanced.
Where's the Dreams developer interview? Come on, guys.
This one just looks like a Fallout game, but with weird mechanics.
The last concern of his was, it's like, okay, if there's only going to be a dozen or so people on the server and the map's 4 times the size of Fallout 4, would that just be a super empty wasteland, essentially?
Yeah, that would suck. They did say dozens, not just a dozen, so there should be, maybe there's 100 people. But even then, it's going to be few and far between, but when you see people. However, I do think people will congregate around landmarks and nuclear missile silos. Though they did confirm, like, you can't just build a base like right in front of the nuclear missile silo and like close it off, which is good because that's exactly what people would do. You know, it's the first.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I do think you'll see like 2 hills on either side of a nuclear missile silo, a base on one hill, base on the other hill, and people just like vying for control of that area constantly, which could be fun. People will definitely make their own stories with this game, like they did with Rust. And I do think the Fallout universe is a better like D&D playset for making good stories. But yeah, so I don't know. Like it could be a Sea of Thieves situation in the end.
And I also think you can't activate a nuke until you have at least, I think you require more than one person to activate a nuke.
Yeah,
I don't think it's possible to find all the codes by yourself.
I don't think so either. So yeah, you have to work with at least some people then, or at least group up with some people if you want to like nuke somebody else. Yeah, and then there's no guarantee they won't turn around and just shoot you in the face. So. But
all right, I think I'm done with the stream here.
Back.
They're not going into the Dreams developer interview.
Loyalty.
Something must have happened.
Be right back.
Okay.
So I'm gonna end the stream with that. But that was quite interesting to see the little PlayStation Live over the PSVR games.
Yeah, that's cool.